Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Right, this should be episode 8. Are we live? You can let me know. Victoria, Jenny, welcome. Yep, trying again. Technical parts, right? Trying to live stream from Bali. So this is episode 8, starting properly now. Episode 8 of 2026. Last week, I had to pre-record it because I couldn't get the internet to work. And instead, tonight, I've started the live show and then nothing happened. So I was on here talking for like 5 minutes and probably just talking to myself. You can see me now. Hello, Victoria. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming over here. That was a bit of a stressful start. These things never just go straightforward and easy right from the beginning. There's always a technical challenge, right? Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Project Weaver. Right, I'll say what I just said in the last broadcast where apparently I was just talking to myself. Episode 8, live stream, and I've got a bunch of things to tell you tonight. Look at the time. It's just gone 10 past midnight, 23rd of April, in my little made up studio that I've got here. 35 people waiting in the other room. That's just my absolute luck with these things, but people will move over. I've got 3 big topics to talk about tonight and then a whole bunch of other stuff, right? And if you're wondering why I'm leaning over, got my microphone here, so I'm just ducking down to talk into it. Hopefully you can hear everything okay. I'm at a little makeshift desk that I've got here, and Yvonne's chilling in bed just over the shoulder there. MBA, I was giving you a shout out in the last stream. Turns out I was just talking to myself. MBA 392, welcome. Jenny, Project Weaver, Victoria. So 3 big stories tonight, right? First one, I'm going to talk a little bit about finance, what's going on with my brokerage account. Secondly, I'm going to talk a little bit about Kuta Beach and Ubud, the differences between them. And then the third one, a little bit of a difference between Bali and Malaysia, just what it's been like to kind of move locations and travel around a little bit, just how we're feeling about this. Those are the kind of 3 big bits. But first of all, let me just say thank you so much to my Patreon members who've signed up. I've got 85 members on Patreon. When it gets to 100, I'm going to invoke a very small price increase. But for now, if you get in before 100, and for the members that are already on there, your price will remain exactly the same. And if you're interested in what I talk about on Patreon, well, today I made a video and shared the question I get asked the most. How much money does Yvonne and I actually have to kind of live outside of the UK? And today I posted a video sharing a live view of my brokerage account, my interactive broker account, how much money I've got in there, what stocks and shares I own, and which options, calls, and cash secured puts I have open and what positions they are currently at. Shared all of that on a video today. Quite a lot to expose, quite a lot to share. It's taken me a while to get over the hump of doing that because it feels a little bit uncomfortable to tell people how much money you've got, but I've done it today. So if you're interested, that's part of Patreon. One last little bit of housekeeping. I just also want to say I'm so proud of Yvonne. She started her own blog on Substack. She's posted edition number 2 today. Again, I get asked all the time, what's Yvonne's view? What does she think of like traveling around? Well, she's wrote 2 blogs. She's got about 60 plus members that have signed up to her newsletter. It's free of charge. There's a link in the description down below. So if you want to have a read from my wife, Yvonne, what it's like for a woman to travel, live out of a suitcase and do all the things that we're doing, she's talking about that now. Right. Also, let me say, good evening, Andy. How you doing? Good evening, A-Dash. How you getting on? Brian, welcome. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you. We had dinner tonight with Kelly and A-Dash, Adam, and we went to a nice restaurant. We went to Honey and Smoke, or Smoke and Honey. It was one of the ones I pointed out in my video a couple of days ago, and we went there tonight and had a nice meal with a couple of viewers of the channel who are here in the chat. and also, again, also Patreon members. So I appreciate you guys. And it was great. Nice little evening talking about all sorts, travel, politics, life out of the UK, all of that kind of stuff. Yes, Victoria, you mentioned that place. I thought about that when we were going there to eat today, this evening. We were supposed to go today, and then the heavens opened, and the heaviest rain we've seen so far in Bali came tumbling down. So we moved the dinner till slightly later, till an evening rather than a lunchtime. So that was nice. It was a little bit more expensive than we've spent in some places, but it was very nice. It was a very good dinner and a good evening, meeting some fellow travelers who are here in Ubud and here in Bali. And we met up with Luke and his wife and their son a couple of days ago as well. Also a viewer of the channel. Somebody had very early client calls with, somebody that was thinking about leaving the UK. And whilst Yvonne and I had kind of already done it, we had a one-to-one call just to talk about this life. So, right, so let me say this much, right? I've shared recently about my brokerage account and how much money is in there on Patreon, but just in terms of the swing, right? A couple of weeks ago, it had gone to like $20,000 down, obviously only down if you sell. And then it had dropped to as low as $38,000 down. That's like squeaky bum time for me. That's when I'm like, oh my God, starts getting uncomfortable seeing it go down. And then in the last couple of weeks with ceasefires, the Iran situation easing a little bit, that account has started to swing a little bit. And as of tonight, it was in a positive about $18,000 position. So that's just kind of the swing. But it only really means anything when you sell the stocks that you've got in there. And I'm holding on to them, but I'm writing covered calls or cash secure puts on those stocks, and that's generating some income. And this month and next month are looking pretty good. I always do a wrap-up video. I always kind of share, like, at the end of the month, like, how much I've made, and I'll do that in about a week's time, share what April has looked like from an income perspective, from YouTube, from Patreon, from documents that I've written and sold, and also from the cash secure puts. And inside Patreon, I write posts when I'm writing, when I'm closing, when I'm buying things back, sharing exactly what I'm doing. And so I've been doing that. And yes, SoFi is doing so okay. It's not at the price that I want it to be at. But we'll see. SoFi announces its results in, what was that be? 5 days time, 6 days time, the 29th of April. I can't even count that up because I can't think about what day you're on versus what day I'm on because it's gone midnight here. But the 29th of April, before market opens, SoFi announces its next quarter's results, and they've already delivered 9 quarters of positivity. Is it going to be 10? I would suspect it's going to be good news from the company. I could easily see the shares going to $25. So we've bought a little bit more tonight when the market opened, and it pulled back just under $19. We bought a little under Yvonne's account, and I've wrote some additional cash secured puts against it. And again, all of that is inside the Patreon. I share these live positions. Right, so the account is in a positive position, which makes me feel a little bit more relaxed because there's a little bit of money coming in. You know, these are the swings with it. And I've mentioned again before, like, I don't ring. I don't ring. Ding, ding. I don't live stress-free. I'm not sitting on millions. I'm sitting on what I've worked hard for in a brokerage account, but making that work to generate some income. So I just have to ride it out and watch that swing, that roller coaster, that Blackpool Big Dipper, and try and earn some money from it. But April has been good, and May is looking strong right now, providing the market doesn't bounce around too much. So we shall see. Right, I'll tell you, I watched a video tonight by a woman on YouTube, and I'll add the link in once I've finished this video. This is a little bit more topical, right? But it was a video from a woman in the UK who's Hungarian. She's been living in the UK for 20 years. She'd posted a video about how she'd lived in London, good job, had left her mum back in Hungary and had came to the UK to kind of build a life. And the video was actually about her leaving. And it was quite a powerful video. I think she laid it out perfectly about her issues. And she just talked about the challenges like the cost of living, taxation, what the country was like from a safety perspective. And it was very hard to like listen to her talk about it. As somebody who'd moved to the UK to set up a life and now felt that they couldn't live in that country anymore. It's quite surprising. And the only reason it came up on my timeline, it had like something like 40,000 views. It was just really interesting to listen to. So I'm going to try and share the link to it if I can. But just listening to her talk about life in London, the crime rates, that she won't go out her house after 8 o'clock at night, that going to work, she feels intimidated on the tube. And I was just listening to it thinking, God almighty, like, what is happening to the country? Seems such a shame that it's just being ran the way that it's being ran at this point. So I'll post a link to that down below once this is over. But it kind of brought a lot of things home for me because there's many reasons why we chose to leave. I've talked about these in the past, but just escaping after a very stressful 9 to 5 job for Yvonne and I both, feeling like the taxation system was just grinding you into the ground and just trying to live reducing your own stress levels, and then also passing of family members for both of Yvonne and I. Both of us have had family members that have passed away over the last few years that have impacted us both. And so, that's why we kind of decided to make a change. But there was lots of other lower levels of detail in all of that, like just what the country's outlook was like and kind of looking further down the road at like whether it would recover and what it would look like in a few years' time. And these were all things that were playing in our mind. But listening to somebody talk about it the way that this woman delivered it was pretty interesting. But right, let me have a little look back. Thank you so much, GD Maths or Matthew or whatever that. Tell me what that surname is. Really enjoying your travels. Buy a taco. Thank you so much. Got to say, those tacos that we had the other night were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and I really enjoyed eating it. And I'll tell you a little funny story about this, though, right? Today is Thursday, right? We've just had dinner with Kelly, and the day before, Yvonne was a little unwell. We had a little bit of a health scare for both of us, like one of those little worrying moments, right? But I promise this will be a little funny for you, right? Andy, thanks so much for the message, mate. From Northampton also. That's cool. So Yvonne and I, we go for the tacos, right? And after the tacos, I had a little bit of a dodgy belly. It wasn't the tacos, right? It was just things I'd eaten. And I had a little bit of a sore belly. Anyway, that was fine, right? And then the next day, we go to meet Luke and his wife and his young lad in this restaurant. Now, it's a kind of health restaurant called Cafe, Kafe, capital K, right? We go in there, and it's like a kind of get a poke bowl and get like healthy stuff, right? And we go in there, and I order chicken tikka wrap, and Yvonne has a poke bowl, but we order drinks, right? And it's like green juices and all sorts. So I ordered like a lemongrass and ginger soda, right? And it said on the menu, small or large. And Yvonne and I were like, oh, we'll just get the large, right? Because we were thinking like small is going to be like this, and large is going to be like maybe like a pint tumbler or something, right? So Yvonne orders this green drink, and I order this lemongrass, and the woman brings it out. And honestly, it was like this. it was absolutely massive, right? And Yvonne's looking at me like, "How am I gonna drink that?" And it's that the drink that she's ordered has got aloe in it, like aloe vera, and it's got mint, and it's got all sorts of other stuff. It's like a cleanse, right? And Yvonne drinks this whole thing herself, right? And we have the lunch, and then we're saying goodbye to Luke outside. And as we're standing outside, Yvonne's giving me a look, and I'm like, "What is it?" And she's like, "We need to get back to the apartment ASAP." And I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, My belly." And we rush back here, right? Fortunately, it's only a couple of streets away. We get back here, and Yvonne spends the rest of the day shitting through the eye of a needle, would be the best way to describe it. Like, like toxic flush from this green drink that she's had. It's it's TMI. She's telling me off because I said shitting through the eye of a needle, but she's just like she's like this with dehydration, right? Now, fast forward like a little bit later, I'm in the shower and it's one of these like tiled floors, right? And I slip and I smash my foot off the lip of the shower. So it's like got a little um lowered tiled floor, and I hit my foot and I felt like it was like a crunch, like the tiles like here, right? My foot makes contact like that, and I can feel my toe go inside my foot, like, ouch, absolute agony. And Yvonne jumps up to come and help me because I'm like, I'm doing that man thing where you're just like, you haven't let out the pain, you haven't let out the agony, you're just dealing with a crunch, right? And I'm like, she's like, "Is you okay?" And I'm like, "I've booted that tile." But Yvonne stands up so fast that she gets a mad head rush and then passes out. So I'm getting her on the bed. I'm in agony with the foot, and she's like, goes in a crazy sweat and then passes out. So now I'm like, "Oh my God," like panicking, right? Like, "Is she all right?" I'm trying to get her into a comfortable position. She comes round and she's just a wee bit dazed, dehydrated, right? So now I'm like, "Right, I'll go to the chemist." So I go to the chemist and I think I'm getting ripped off in the chemist. The woman's like, "Sore tummy?" Yep. She's like, "Take these." "Diarrhea?" Yep. "Take these." So she's got me like she's got me like Imodium. She's got me like these things which are like hydration drinks. She's got me probiotics for Yvonne's belly afterwards, and then like paracetamol or something. So she gives me like, I don't know, 4 different drugs to bring back. And when she goes to ring it up on the till, all I heard was the word a million, which is a lot for medication, right? A million, and a million is like £45 or something. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. All because Yvonne has had this toxic green drink at lunch the day before. So I buy the medication, I come back and Yvonne's having that. And so we had a day yesterday. Technically, what would that be? Tuesday. Technically Tuesday, we had the whole day in the apartment watching movies on the laptop. Whilst Yvonne made regular trips to the bathroom, clearing herself out. And it turns out it was mainly the aloe that was in the drink, which is like a proper gut cleanse. And as Yvonne just scanned through the menu and went, "Yeah, I'll take that," hadn't realised it's insane effects on the belly. So we had lunch with Luke and his wife, and then Yvonne paid the price for the next day of dehydration. But honestly, like that face. Right, let me skip through if I missed some comments on here. Let me have a little look. Hello, Bumblebee. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. So that was kind of funny, right? Now, let me tell you, see last week when I made the video, the hour long, because I couldn't do the live stream and I talked about a couple of things. I always love when viewers leave me messages and tell me little tales, and I read that back, right? So I had talked about my dad's birthday and forward, backwards, backwards, forward. And I had a message um, from somebody that was telling me it's called a palindrome, because I couldn't remember that, a palindrome. So my dad's birthday is 7/4/47, same forward as it is backwards, and he was always chuffed with that. He used to tell me all the time, "That's a palindrome." And I was thinking about that, and then a viewer messaged me and said that his favorite palindrome was a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Right, and I absolutely loved that. That tickled me, when I read that comment. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Now, the reason I love that, right, is because I'm a man. I started this channel with a plan on a canal, and the only thing that's missing from that is Panama. Now, in my impulsive kind of ways, I can't honestly, I've already started looking as to whether we could get to Panama, because that feels like it's fate that that comment should come up. Thinking about back to January 9th last year when I started this YouTube channel about this journey, I kind of had a plan that we were going to leave the UK. So the fact that a viewer popped in and said, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama, which is the same forward as it is backwards. I loved that. So it was Michael. So Michael, if you ever watch this, thanks for that. That really tickled me. I really enjoyed that. Right, and there was a couple other things, right? I talked about NPCs, and I talked about people that don't understand, like when they get to cash registers or they go through security systems, like you're supposed to prep ahead of time because, the inner monologue in the head and all that about prepping ahead of time. And I had a great message from Graham, who was talking about watching NPCs, which is non-playable characters, people that don't process in their heads. But his favorite was when you see people getting on a plane and trying to work out what seat they're in, when they're just looking at the ticket. And that made me laugh as well, because I see that all the time. You see people getting on an aeroplane and it's like 12C, and they can't work out A, B, C, D, E. Like, it's just too difficult for people. So that gave me a little bit of a tickle as well. I thought about that. I thought about a few of them for a few days last week. Now, we're in Ubud, right? Having got to Bali, and there's motorbikes are everywhere here. And somebody was asking me, like, why don't I hire a bike to get around? And honestly, the idea of a moped or a little scooter going around here absolutely terrifies me. I know it seems easy, right? But see, considering I had such a kind of medical scare at the end of October into November of last year, and I'm still going through the whole insurance battle. The last thing I need is an accident on a moped, and so I'm if I can't get a grab taxi to it, I'm not willing to hire a motorbike. We've been out of the country for 7 months, and we've seen three quite bad motorcycle accidents, and one where it was like the end of that person. That happened in Malaysia at an apartment we were staying in right outside. And it happened, we saw it, and then the person was scooped up and gone in the space of about 15 minutes to get the motorway opened back up again. And I think about that all the time. That poor person gone. And now I'm like, I'm not coming to Bali to hop on the back of a bike with Yvonne and go scooting around. So I appreciate people telling me how easy it is to get around on bikes. But I'm also like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Pistol Club, or Pistol TC Dub, good evening and welcome. Thanks for joining us. Literally sunny in Glasgow. That'll be your one day of the year that you're getting there, so you better enjoy that. What else has been happening? So, I had a bit of an injury this week, and I've needed to take a little bit of time. I had a bit of a back spasm, which just came out of the blue. I was in Kuta Beach, and I was doing some exercise. I was doing a lot of long walks. I've been doing my 10K, getting to about 15K steps a day, trying to just cut down a little bit of weight, a little bit of visceral fat around the waist that I'm trying to shift. And I was doing jumping jacks honestly doing jumping jacks in my apartment, and I just felt my back go, and it's been agony, and I've had to give it a bit of a rest. So I've been doing the steps around Ubud, but I haven't been able to do any kind of main exercise. And I should just go in for a massage because they're so cheap in the places around here. But I mean, where is the joy of having a wife of all these years if you can't get a massage off your better half? So Yvonne's been kind of just trying to work the shoulders a little bit for me and look out for me. Bumblebee, I totally agree. I'm just not into it. Every street that we walk onto, they're like, hire a bike, hire a bike. And I'm like, yeah, not sure about that. What? Sorry, my eyesight has gone so bad. JKW and the pension bits. Yep, happy to. So this hasn't been voted in yet. I understand it went to the Lords position, and they've so far rejected it. But I find that it's just for context here. I posted on Patreon about a week ago about paying attention that the Labour government are trying to enact a new policy that would give them the authority to decide on how your private pension in the UK could be spent. And that's to prop up some UK initiatives and UK businesses. And it might be a percentage, it could be like 20% or 30% of your private pension. I think this is a massive overreach by the government and something that really should be pushed back on because I'm 48. Yvonne and I are both 48. We've paid into a state pension and we've paid into a private pension for as many years as we could. We haven't done it since like first job or anything. We couldn't afford it when we first left school and got jobs. But from about the age of about 20, we've paid into a private pension each, and you're saving up for your own life at that point. And to get to this stage now and to have the government and MPs write into law that suddenly they can decide how your pension is spent on whatever kind of vanity project they deem fit to prop up businesses that can't seek out finance from other sources is just wild. It's absolutely wild to me. So it's gone up to the House of Lords and been rejected. I find it fascinating that this is all going on right now behind the scenes whilst the whole Mandelson thing plays out, right? Classic government, which is look over here, everybody, look at this scandal here. Well, they take your money away at the other side. And yeah, if you can hear a dog barking, that's the owner's dog. That's pretty rare that we've heard it barking. I hope it's not barking at me because I'm talking at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But you need to pay attention to that. And what it's got me thinking about just now is whether I would consider taking my private pension and moving it into a SIP, which is where you would invest it yourself. So you could buy stocks and shares in whichever companies that you saw fit in. That means obviously you taking ownership versus another business, whereas right now I have mine in a company that looks after it. But I think I think it's incredible. And by the way, the MPs' pensions, they're not affected. It's just yours. It's just you. If you've got a private pension, if you've saved up for a number of years, they get to decide how it will be spent now. So they'll go to, I don't know, like, well, BlackRock and all these companies that will be heavily involved in it. The people that come and meet up with Keir Starmer and have these secret meetings. But they will effectively be told where the money can be spent. So it's still going through approval. But you know how these things work, right? It gets rejected once or twice and then it gets pushed through. So I'm watching that very closely. So let's see how that plays out. So you're following this channel and several other channels, supported the decision to leave the UK and have now relocated. Good for you. That's awesome. I love hearing from people that have decided to kind of make a shift. Doing your best around 8,000 steps a day, drinking coffee whilst doing so. Apparently, major clinical studies determined this. Do you know, I'm having to kind of ease off the coffee a little bit just now because I was having a little bit of pain in the gallbladder area, which is either one of two worrying things. It's either that I've got a gallstone, and I hope that's not the case, or it's just that I've lost weight. And when you've dropped weight down, and I've also been through quite a bit of medication when I was in the hospital in October and November. Had quite a lot of antibiotics, and that can inflame the gallbladder. So when I've had coffee recently, it's irritating that coffee and dark chocolate and cheese are the three things that I'm not having right now because they were causing a bit of pain. And when I don't have those three things, I don't have any issues. But I'll tell you what I'm absolutely loving just now: ginger tea. There's a little cafe next door to where Yvonne and I are staying, and we go in there for breakfast, and I have a ginger tea, and they cut up big slices of ginger and then a ginger tea bag. And I've also been having peach tea. I'm just have not been into that kind of stuff pretty much my whole life. And then when you've got to make a change, you just find something. And I love the peach tea and I love the ginger tea. It's so refreshing. It's so good for your stomach. And so I'm having ginger teas. But in terms of the steps, I've really been kind of putting the effort in. Let me have a little look at my smartwatch, right? And I'll tell you where I'm at. I don't think I've made big steps today, but let me have a look. Look at that. That's my average for this week, 10,500 steps, which I'm pretty happy about. And for the month, 10,500 steps for the month. So I'm pretty chuffed with that because I've really had to get up and get out of the apartment and make sure I'm getting it done and in the heat. A nice walk around Ubud. Right now, I mentioned at the beginning I'd cover finance, and in the second part is I'll talk a little bit about Kuta versus Ubud as a comparison. This has been a significant change coming to Ubud, which is inland, right? Kuta was next to the beach, and I love the beach and the sand and seeing the sea, but it was very much a party place. And I was kind of struggling a little bit with the alcohol side of it because the booze was just everywhere. And I just didn't want the temptation. Not that I have an issue with it. I just kind of don't want to sit and have a beer or cider. I'm just not into that. So Kuta Kuta is like, it's like Ibiza for the Aussies. It's like party town. That's what Kuta Beach is like. And then we took a taxi for about an hour and a half, which is like £12 to get to Ubud, which is more in the center of the island. And it's just much more chill. I really like the vibes. It's still busy with like mopeds and there's a lot of tourists around and there's a mix of like old and new. And there's a lot of temples around, which I absolutely love going to see, especially like the doors to the temple are just stunning architecture. I love all that, taking pictures, having a walk around. So I've settled much, much cooler here to Ubud. It's not roasting hot, but it's just got a nicer vibe to it. I'll tell you, see at the weekend there, it was Coachella, and the weekend before, Justin Bieber and all that headlining. And there's a lot of stuff online about the kind of like the Instagram people that go to like Coachella and take pictures of themselves and do brand exposés and coverage and all that. If you wanted to know where Instagram girls and Instagram people go when Coachella's not on, they come to Ubud. There's so many little like boutique stores. And it's all just you go into restaurants and it's all just people taking photos of their dinner. I mean, I'm as bad, right? I'm making videos of these things, so I can only share my own view of it. But it's quite funny to see. It's very it's got a kind of hippie-esque vibe to it. So it's got a mix of old and a mix of the kind of new stores around. But there's no Burger King, there's no KFC, there's no Pizza Hut. I've seen one Starbucks. But beyond that, it's all independent stores, restaurants, and everything else. So I'm liking that. And we got here last Friday, and we were only going to stay like 3 days, and we've ended up just keep adding a day on in the apartment. This apartment we're in is £13 a night. The swimming pool is right outside the front door. Got a nice double bed. It's super comfy. There's no TV in the room, but there is internet because I'm talking to you now on it. So there's no TV. We're just chilling here, and I've liked it. But I think we'll probably leave on Friday, and then I think we're going to go to Sanur. I think we're going to go to Sanur next, which hopefully should be at the end of this week. We might extend, who knows? We've kept saying, right, we'll leave on Tuesday. Tuesday became Wednesday. Wednesday became Thursday. Now it's became Friday, and we've just been booking it on booking.com. So it's worked out really nice. I think I saw a Pizza Hut. Did you really? I probably wasn't paying attention enough. But yeah, Ubud has been super cool. Hey, lucky to be alive. Thanks for the message. Yeah, really enjoying it. And the walk up into the rice fields that we had last couple of days was great as well. That was the day that when we got back, Yvonne had the green drink, trying to quench her thirst. The rice fields was awesome, apart from the bikes. But you just kind of deal with it, right? You just kind of accept it. There's always a yin and yang in all of these things. I'm kind of like, see, at night, I like getting out for a walk at night. The place has got a buzz to it. I'll tell you this, it feels very safe. I mean, there's a poverty aspect, right? But I'll say this, this is something that I have noticed. There is a lot of single, and I don't mean like in dating or whatever, but just walking around, females, very mixed ages, some young that are maybe traveling, and some older women. And I've noticed that there's just more visually, you notice more single women walking around. And I always think that's a good sign of like feeling a bit of comfort. So that's really positive, I think. Let me see what else goes on. What's going on here? So I told you about the back spasm. Yeah, so the Kuta versus Ubud, just what a difference. What a difference in the place. I felt that kind of a calming, having came away from the seaside. But when we go to Sanur, I'm looking for that because I've heard it's a little bit quieter as well and still beach orientated. So I'm kind of hoping for that. I'm hoping that's going to give me a chance to just kind of walk up and down the beach a little bit and have a little bit more of a quiet situation. Now, see this apartment we're in, right? It's 3 apartments side by side and 3 upstairs. Ours looks over the pool. And when we got here the other day, there was like a Russian family here. What is it with people who take phone calls, right? At like crazy times, like 2 in the morning, take a phone call, but take it outside in the kind of your area outside your apartment. Why do people they don't take the call in their apartment because they don't want to disturb their own family, but they'll disturb everybody else? That blows my mind. Like people are out there like, oh yeah, hello. Oh yeah. Like I would never go outside to take a phone call. But people are just, you know what ruins travel? People. It's other people that ruin travel. I'm telling you. But we got a taxi here. It was like 90 minutes in the taxi, and it was like £12 in a grab. And now that we're here, we've taken a walk up into the rice fields, and there's some beautiful apartments and some beautiful places to rent. But how do you get up there with like a suitcase? We saw a girl with a suitcase, so somebody must be able to do it, like on a bike or what? Like, but I've said to Yvonne, like, if we book one of these places, how are we going to get there with a suitcase? Like, I joked on one of the videos about Yvonne carrying it on her head. I think that might end up being the case, but yeah, we'll figure that out. And I'll tell you also, right? Yvonne was the one that kind of sourced this place out. She's been doing this studying and all that and thinking about us moving on. And sometimes I have to check what we're doing, right? And I mentioned in the walking video in the rice fields, um, like, how long is this walk? And she was like, I don't know. Because you head out into the fields, right? We've not got water or anything with us. There's coffee shops and everything. But I'm like, is this a 2 kilometer walk, a 16 kilometer walk? And we ended up, it was just a walk out and come back on the same trail path. So, I'm in my head thinking it will be like a circle or something around I don't know, a lake or a wood or something. It wasn't, it was just an out and back. But I'm always curious of these questions. And then we were talking about moving locations to somewhere else. And Yvonne was like, it's 5 hours in a taxi to get there. And I'm like, 5 hours? We're not doing that. It's going to cost a fortune. And then she was like, oh, sorry, I forgot to change it. That was me. That was it on walking. So looked the location up and then told me it was 5 hours to walk there. But in reality, it was only like 40 minutes in a taxi. So these are the little details you sometimes need to check to make sure that you're getting the right information before you actually do something. Telling you. And also, right, there's loads of little, see these little boutique stores, right? It's like dresses, it's all like hippie stuff and all that, right? You've got like the massage, foot massages, you've got nice little restaurants, you've got coffee shops, right? Well, there's a lot of like jewelry places. There's a lot of like custom jewelry. And we passed by this silver shop, right? And I'm like that to Yvonne, let's go in and have a little look, right? Just go in and have a little nosy around to see what they've got in the shop. And we go in, and Yvonne's like looking at rings and all that kind of stuff, right? She sees this little ring that's like it loops round a couple of times. It's got like a shell or something in it, some kind of stone. She initially thinks it's like a birthstone. And so she's looking at me and I'm like, well, just try it on. So she tries it on, right? And the guy comes over and he's like, oh, can I help you? Chatting away. And then just out the blue, right? She's just like that. I'll take it. Right. This is the difference. Like I spent 30 years working in sales, negotiating, figuring out pricing, high, low, wondering where you can get to, trying to do deals, right? And Yvonne has spent 30 years working in IT and just walks into a jeweler, tries a ring on and goes, I'll take it. And then looks at me as if like I'm supposed to say something. And I just looked at Yvonne and I was like, do you maybe want to ask what the price is first? And she's like, how much is it? And the guy's like, 650,000 Indonesian, whatever it is, what's it called? Indonesian rupiah, 650,000 Indonesian rupiah. Now, that's about 30 quid or something, right? So this is not a big deal, but it was just, it cracked me up the way Yvonne was just like to the guy, I'll take it. Not even a how much is it first, right? This thing could have been anything. This could have been anything. And then he says 650,000 Indonesian rupiah, and Yvonne's like, fine. And then she looks at me again, and I'm like, not even a haggle, not even a, no, how about 500,000 or not, it's something like that. None of that. Just straight to, I'll take it. And she bought it, right? Paid for it, and we walked outside, and I was just laughing. I was like, first rate negotiation skills, top notch right there. So yeah, that's the one that was in the video. If you saw that, Victoria. Anne, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Sunny in south side of Glasgow. Ah, Glasgow. I do think about Glasgow from time to time. Right, what else have I got scribbled down here? Right, so and the third big part of this tonight, right, was to talk about the difference between like Bali and Malaysia. See, in Malaysia, right, when we've lived there, we've kind of lived quite kind of conservatively. We've bought supermarket shopping, we've made our own dinners, and we've just kind of looked after ourselves, been going to the gym and stuff, right, and going into the malls and walking around. And it's a very different heat, and you dress differently. Here, I'm wearing like vest tops. I'm like a 50-year-old guy. I'm 48, but I'm like a 50-year-old guy wearing a vest top. But you just get away with it because like everybody's dressed like that. I wouldn't wear that in Malaysia. I wouldn't go into a mall with like bare arms in Malaysia. So you have a kind of different dress style. Here, I'm just living in like two t-shirts, one vest top, and a pair of shorts, two pairs of shorts. And Yvonne and I have now effectively got like two wardrobes, even though we've left the UK, we've downsized a whole bunch of stuff. We're still living in like two styles of wardrobe. We've got like the Malaysian wardrobe and we've got the Thailand slash Bali wardrobe. And they're different, which is kind of weird. And Yvonne needed it. She wanted to buy a dress. So she's gone and bought a dress as well. And yeah, you love a vest top. I do love a vest top. Um, it's not something I would ever have worn in younger years, especially not in the UK. But see here, everybody wears. It's like every guy's kicking around in a vest top because it's that kind of temperature. I actually went into a shop to buy another one last night, and then I've checked myself when I was in the shop. I probably will buy it, but I was like, I'm not doing it. I had to wait. I had to give myself the time to decide. I wasn't doing an Avon where I was just like, I'll take it. How much is it? 2.5 million? No bother. I had to wait. So, eh? The price is going up more and more, Yvonne says. Yeah, so I was going to buy another vest top. So Yvonne bought a dress, went into a little shop. She bought a dress because she just needs something else. And this is the laugh, right? She's got a black dress and she's like, I need to get a dress that's not black. And we've walked by 100 boutique shops. And this is how we shop together, right? We walk by the shop and I say, what about that? And Yvonne goes, I can't be bothered going in because she's like, I'm gonna have to swear here, right? But she's a shit shopper. She's just got no patience for going into shops. It's me that's like, let's go in and have a look. Let's go and have a look. So we're getting in all these boutique shops. She's trying a few on, right? And she's like, can't buy a black dress, must buy another color. Went into a shop the other night, bought a dress, black. Just why? What happened to the green, yellow, pink, white? What happened to all of that? Nah, black dress. Black dress with a little pearl thing that goes round the waist. Got that. It was like 30 quid or something. So she's got that. So we've ended up with two wardrobes, which is just feels weird between Malaysia and here. And it's the things you would wear here, I just don't think you would wear in Malaysia. It's just got a very different kind of feel to it. But I would say we're enjoying Bali, but Yvonne still thinks Thailand is better than Bali so far. That's the kind of initial impression that we're getting. Probably felt comfortable, John. Probably. But I'll tell you, she'd never tried it on if it hadn't have been just going, let's get in that shop. Because otherwise she's just like, can't be bothered. Needed a bikini as well. Like honestly, just Captain Rinse Cash over there, just making it rain. That's why I'm on here doing live chats. And there would be no Rabsy Nesbitt vibes from the vest top. It's not like one of those string top vests. There's no tan lines coming through and all of that. Rich Lum, good evening. Welcome. Thanks, mate, for joining us. Marina, I like Yvonne. Make my mind up and buy. Yeah. Exactly. Just straight in, gets the ring, and then when it comes to the dress, can he make a decision on it all? Cracks me up, honestly. So we're probably going to be here till Friday and then decide what we're going to do next as to whether we're going to move on or add another day. Unfortunately, this place hasn't been sold out and it's been 13 quid a day, which has been nice. Now, I'll tell you this, right? Tell you this little funny bit. The area we're in is called Monkey Forest, and there is a forest filled with monkeys. You've got to pay to get in it. But the monkeys are everywhere. Like you walk down the street and the monkeys are on the cables above your head. You could just be outside a little boutique thing, right? You're just having a look in the boutique shop, like, oh, there's a nice wee dress. And a monkey might drop down and attack you. And that happened tonight. We went to the restaurant and I was saying to Yvonne, there's the monkeys up there. I went for a walk today. And when I was walking around, I could see them. They were dropping down cables and they were above the street. I've videoed it. It will be in the next video as evidence that this happened. But we went for dinner tonight and we met up with Kelly and Adam. They had just seen a woman get attacked outside by a monkey. Like, if you're out there where you've got a bag with you, there's signs up saying, "Don't make eye contact with the monkeys." That's like, don't make eye contact with the monkeys. You're supposed to look away, like not to show dominance and all that stuff. And it's like, don't have a bag and don't have loose things because they come and steal it from you. This is in the street. This is in the high street. But we met with Kelly and Adam tonight, right? And they had to walk back through. They had the choice of going the long way around the forest, which isn't really that long, or walk through the forest to get to their apartment. And they texted me afterwards, messaged me and said, we walked through the forest. It was terrifying. It's nighttime. That's how horror movies start. That's how 28 Days Later begins, right? Monkeys and a virus and everything else. And they're away walking through the woods, and it had been raining, so it must have been like that is like a horror film. That's the start of like The Bone Collector or something. So I don't know how they did it. It wouldn't have been me. Honestly, I walked down that street today and I could see people outside shops just like having a little look around, and I'm like, there's a monkey above your head. People just don't pay attention. So that's something a bit unusual. I wasn't really prepared for that. When people said, "Oh, there's monkeys around in the forest," I knew you had to pay to get into the forest, like as an attraction. And we were like, maybe we won't. But the fact that they're just roaming up and down the streets, and when I was around there tonight, I showed Yvonne where I saw the monkey today. It was like 4 stops on a bus to get from the woods, miles away. Widos, absolute widos. So that's the kind of 3 big stories I was going to share with you tonight. There was the financing story, told you about what's happening with the brokerage. Ubud versus Kuta, definitely Ubud is the winner out of those two, but it'll be interesting when we move on to Sanur, what it's like, and we might have time to go somewhere else before we leave. We have to depart Bali on the 12th of May, and it's time to move on. And then in terms of Bali versus Malaysia, very different places. I do like the kind of chilled aspect of here. It's very like Ubud is very hippie vibes. And then in the middle of all of that, Yvonne has spent millions, absolute millions, between pharmaceuticals, dresses, and gold rings. She's like a pirate. This is like a treasure hunt to Yvonne. I've spent nothing. I've just got my dinner. And what else? Oh, the number of tattoo shops here. I did mention this, right? But I'm convinced that tattoo shops are like the Turkish barbers of Bali. They've got to just be like doing something with like money laundering, because there's not even enough skin here for the number of tattoo shops that are on the streets. I mean, they are everywhere. And it's just guys sitting outside, like waiting for somebody to come and get a tattoo. I'm like, who's getting a tattoo in roasting hot sunshine? Who with like sunburn is getting a tattoo? That's insanity. That's like that's how you end up in hospital. That's how you end up having to get like an injection in hospital. That's madness. That's like walking through monkey forest at 10 o'clock at night in the dark, in the rain. Who's getting these tattoos? So I do ask myself. I thought you might like that, mate. How you doing? Hello, Julie. How you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. See, A-Dash is here. That's Adam, right? He's one of the 2 gents we were having dinner with tonight. He's the man that decided to walk through the woods with monkeys late at night. Basically prey. He was prey when he walked through there tonight. Oh, guys. So it's been an eventful week. It's definitely been eventful. We see when we walked up into the rice fields, right? We thought we got lost at one point. There was a path and the path split. And Yvonne was like, "I think it's this way," and I thought it was the other way. And we heard this voice up this lane shouting at us, "It's this way. It's this way." It was this little old man. And so I said to Yvonne, "Well, he's telling us we can go that way." And we got up there, right? And as we were walking past him, he had a little art shop and he was pointing to the art shop. It's not the man that was in my video, by the way. It's not that man that I was talking to about the tattoos. But he was asking me to take his photo, right? This is him. He was asking me to take his photo outside his wee shop, right? Now, he had a scythe in his hand for probably for doing the rice and all that, right? Picking out the rice at the field. Had that in his hand. He was kind of hiding it down at his side. You can't quite see it there, right? But he was basically tooled up. This old man was tooled up. And he's saying to me, "Take my photo." And then I took his photo and I was like, "Oh, it was nice to chat to you." And he was like, "Money, geez, money." And we didn't have any change or anything. And Yvonne was like, "Oh, we'll be coming back this way." And I'm thinking, nah, it's a loop. We'll never be back this way. But we went to a coffee shop just slightly further up the trail. And Yvonne got change and was like, "Oh, I feel bad for that old man." And we came back down and he was gone. He wasn't even there. I'm not even sure if he was real or if it was haunted or what, but he was gone. And Yvonne was raging because she'd had the change with her. She's like, "I'll sort that old man out. He was a nice old man." I was like, "He's trying to rob you with a scythe." But we came back and he was gone. So I said in the video, them's the breaks. Yeah, you don't hang about long enough for the tourists coming back. You can't earn the cash. Right, folks, has that been an hour? This was a difficult start to this live podcast or blog or whatever I'm calling this, but it's just gone 1:05, and I appreciate you all being here, and I appreciate you coming over to this stream, especially after I made a mess of the start of the last one. But we'll call that quits for tonight, and I'm going to go and have a shower and chill out with Yvonne, and we'll be back with some more videos in a few days' time. And as a reminder, if you want to know the number, if you want to know how much I generate from the income of cash secure puts and all that stuff, Patreon. And if you want to know what Yvonne's thinking about all of this, check out her Substack. The link is down below. 62 people following her already. I asked her the other day, how does it feel to be a content creator? She gets a shudder thinking about all that. But she's wrote 2 excellent blogs. Right. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. From Bali and from Ubud, I shall wish you a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you all soon.